Coming up next on CTV Sportsnight, we'll talk old-time football with former Viking linebacker Wally Hilgenberg. We'll also talk to author Bill Blazevich on having fun with baseball nicknames. We'll take your phone calls, trivia prizes, and the sports guys next.
Now Babby jumping at the center, blocked, deflects the breakaway, blocked all along, going right to the goal, he shoots, he scores! There's a snap a bit low, but Guy held it, blocked, high in the air, going after the ball, it's Bobby Brown, it's over his head, with the Mike for recover, inside the 5, a block caught, super play by Fred McNeil, and gave it right over top of the blocker. The 16th block kick of the year, and the Vikes have the ball, first and goal, inside the open raider 5, at the 3-yard line. And there's a high fly ball, well hit, left field, way back. Yes, sir. Wave it. Bye-bye. Now Bronowski. And the pitch. Right free. Bring him out. The Twins win. The Twins have won the American League pennant.
Well, hi everybody and welcome to this edition of CTV Sports Night. We are live from our studios in Roseville, Wednesday, August 26th. I'm Dale Irving. Thanks for being with us. Another great show on tap. We're going to talk some old-time Vikings football with Viking linebacker Wally Hilgenberg. We'll also talk baseball nicknames with Phil Blazevich coming up later on. And then we'll take your phone calls, 481-9554, as we bring the sports guys out to the set. But let's start the show and welcome Wally Hilgenberg out. Wally, thanks for coming out tonight.
Great to be here, Dale. Thank you.
We're going to talk some football, but before we do, tell us what you're up to today.
Well, as far as business and everything, I'm in the insurance business. I've got a nice job. I only work half days.
That's the greatest kind
from
of job
6
there
to
is.
6. I start at 6 in the morning and end at 6 at night. But I have a little company that we call Bank Compensation Strategies, and I do benefit planning for bank owners and operators, and we do deferred comp and executive benefit plans.
Sure, and of course you grew up in Iowa, but you decided to stay in the Twin Cities area after your career, much like it seems many Vikings have done so. So it's been a nice area for just to grow the family up.
Oh, terrific. We feel real fortunate living here. Back when I was playing back in '76, '77, we bought 20 acres down in the country, Lakeville, Prior Lake area, and built a home back in the woods, and we've raised our family there, and it's just been a great environment. And in many respects, I've made the transition from being an Iowan to a Minnesotan.
You made it successfully as well.
Well,
You've got some children. We should say many people may know your daughter who participated in the Miss Teen, was it the USA pageant
yeah,
not
Miss
too
Teen
long
USA.
ago?
Yeah, our daughter Christy, who's 19, she's a sophomore this year at Bethel College, was Miss Teen Minnesota this last year, and she went down and competed in the national contest or pageant. I guess it was about a week ago now.
So pretty exciting times for the family there.
Yeah, neat young lady, and we're very proud of her.
Let's talk a little about your career. Of course, as we mentioned, you grew up in Iowa and attended the University of Iowa in the early 60s, where Jerry Burns was actually your coach there. Of course, he would go on to coach the Vikings.
That's true. As a matter of fact, what happened was I was drafted by the Detroit Lions back in '64, played 4 years with the Lions. My fourth year, I blew a knee. I got chopped by a running back going in on a blitz, and he got my right knee and had surgery. And a couple weeks after that, I had what's called a pulmonary embolism, which is it's a blood clot that traveled through my leg, or from my leg up through my heart and into my lungs. And it was kind of touch and go for a while.
Pretty serious stuff.
Yeah, and I think the truth of the matter is the Lions kind of gave up on me. They thought my vital capacity, my lungs was gone. I was done playing ball, so they traded me to the Pittsburgh Steelers. They were the worst team in the National Football League at that time. I lasted 4 weeks there, and they cut me, and Minnesota picked me up off of waivers for $100. So I found out what I was really worth in pro football about that time. A $100 bill bought me.
Now, when Pittsburgh gave up, what were you feeling? I mean, did you think that, well, gee, maybe it is over?
Certainly I had those thoughts. They cut me on the last week of the exhibition season, and teams were pretty well set then. And I thought, gee, here I played 4 years, and that's what I had in was 4 years. You needed 5 years to be a vested ball player to get a retirement. I thought, I've gone 4 years in a training camp, and I'm out of it, and my career is over. But I was real fortunate that Jerry Burns was here and he knew me from college. Bud Grant had tried to sign me in Winnipeg when he was coaching up there with the Blue Bombers. And the other part about it was there was a guy by the name of Jim Finks that was the general manager for the Vikings at that time. And he called me up and told me we'd picked you up off the waivers, Wally, and we want you here. And I said, what does that mean? And he says, you're on the active roster for the first league game. And I said, I've had contract problems. And he says, don't worry, you won't have them with me. And I came in, I met with him for 45 minutes, signed a contract that I was very pleased with, and he was a great guy, and I had tremendous admiration and respect for him.
And you were with the Vikings for the next 12 years. They won the title 10 of those 12 years, so you couldn't have been in a better situation.
No, it was great. I think after the 5th game, I had the starting job at right linebacker, and you know, being a Midwesterner, growing up in Iowa, playing for the Hawkeyes, it was close for my family to come in. It was like being at home.
So in '68, not only did you get reunited with Jerry Burns, but another guy, Paul Krause, who you actually played college ball with. Tell me about Paul, of course, who went into the Hall of Fame, an overdue honor for him.
Oh, yeah, very much so. As a matter of fact, I went down to Canton when they inducted him.
Right.
It was one of the biggest thrills in my life to see him get inducted to the thing, because, of course, he deserved it with 81 interceptions.
Yeah.
But yeah, as freshmen at the University of Iowa, he and I were teammates on that team. Our senior year, we were co-captains. He went to Washington for 4 years with the Redskins. I went to Detroit. We ended up in '68 once again because of Burns and Bud, and we ended up being roommates with the Vikings and been best friends forever. And as a matter of fact, his wife and my wife have been very closest of friends as well.
Well, before you say too many good things, we had a chance to go down to the Metrodome, catch up with Paul Krause, who was at the Fantasy Football Expo, and here's what Paul had to say about Wally Hilgenberg.
Uh-oh.
Wally and I go back together at the University of Iowa, and his nickname is weird because he always did very weird things. So you should probably have him talk to you about some of that. Although he wouldn't tell you why he was so weird. But anyway, Wally Hilgenberg was a decent athlete in high school, fairly good in college. He just hung around in pro football with me for a while. I kept him around for 16 years in the National Football League. He couldn't run very fast and couldn't run very far. He had to lateral to me so I could score a touchdown for him. He did pick up the ball, though. That was a unbelievable thing. But no, just kidding, Wally. Wally is a great entertainer. You'll have a good time listening to him. He'll talk a lot about himself, though, too. So, hey, listen to Wally August 26th.
All right, there it is. I'll give you a chance to respond to the weird Wally comment.
Well, I don't know what he's talking about there. I have no idea, because I've always been like a teddy bear, you know, real cuddly and lovable type of guy. The one comment that he did make about me picking the ball up and lateraling to him, I don't know if you've probably seen that shot. It happened in Detroit where there's a fumble, a drop pass, and I picked the ball up and started running down the sideline. I looked back, and Paul was behind me, and there was one guy coming that was maybe a threat to tackle me, and I looked over there, and I knew Paul wouldn't block for me. So I threw him the ball and blocked for him.
Great team
and then
play.
he got to score the touchdown. I mean,
you
got to know Paul Krause. He's not going to hit anybody.
Great team play on your part.
That's what I thought too.
Is his record ever going to get broken? 81
No,
interceptions?
Never. I don't think anybody will even come close to it. You know, Paul, even though he was not very complimentary about me being an athlete, which, you know,
He'll take the high road here.
Yeah. He was a great athlete, had great hands, and the thing that he did playing free safety was he played like a center fielder, and you hear the stories about the center fielders at the crack of the bat, they run to where the ball is going to go. Paul had that same kind of feel as a center fielder or free safety for the Vikings. When that quarterback got up to throw that ball, he was reading the quarterback and he was running to the spot.
You guys actually, with all the things you had in common, were actually drafted together, I think, in the old AFL. Was it Denver?
Right.
But you both chose to go to the NFL.
Right.
For
That's
probably
true.
obvious reasons at that time.